Recording progress.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. How's everybody doing this Shabbat? I'm doing well this Shabbat. Doing very well. All right. Getting some things in order, moving things around. All right. Shabbat Shalom. Right now, my household is preparing for the Passover. In the process of getting the leaven out of the house and everything. A lot of people have already had their Passover celebration. We're still in the process, still working, getting it done, getting the process. For us this week coming up is the Passover. We'll be celebrating it here in our home. Um, I know a lot of people have went to celebrations and stuff like that, and hey, all for that. So trying to share this to my own page real quick, my main page, and not just my ministry page. So I think it's shared there, but let me see. I want to make sure that it's not just shared just to me. I want to make sure that it's the privacy is set right. Let me see. So let me edit it. I'm gonna see if it allows me to let it be more than just all right. Mm-hmm. About to get it going, but looks like it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to do that, but may just have to do it later and people can see the replay, but not going to hold up for too long. Let's get it going. Abiyah, thank you for this Shabbat. Thank you for this opportunity to come before your people. I thank you for this coming for this household Passover. We're doing this in remembrance, as it is a commandment to keep or observe through generations. And we are current generation. No, there is no temple, but there was no temple when the original Passover was set forth. The original Passover was set forth in Mizraim or in Egypt as the people of Israel were in Goshen, ready to hit the wilderness. Right now, many of us can see wilderness approaching. May we be prepared to pass over to make it to the land that you have set for us for us to be in. Yada Yahuwah. All right, we'll get it going. No, it's like, yeah, let me get it going. Try to share it and make sure that it was not just to friends, but that it was going to everyone. But Facebook is doing a little bit of thing on its own, so I'm gonna go ahead and get going. So we're gonna go over here to Shemot, Exodus 12. Exodus 12 is where you see most of the basis of the Passover, the text that deals with the Passover the most. So that's where we're gonna go. Getting over there right now, sharing my screen. So it's going to be a little bit of reading. Starting off here at Exodus 12, and it says, And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and to Aharon in the land of Mizraim, saying, This new moon, this new month is the beginning of new moons for you. It is the first new moon of the year for you. Many of us have been taught modernly the new year starts off in the winter, January. But when you look at how this is dynamically set up, you see that harvest time is more the beginning of the year. And I think it's specifically the barley harvest. And that would be more towards the spring when life is beginning. Wintertime is more when life is dying, or you see things falling off the trees and not blossoming. The new year means new, not the end of things, but the beginning of things. New. So right now, around this March time, right now it's at April 4th for me by their calendar, the Gregorian calendar, and this is the Shabbat, the seventh day of the week. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, On the 10th day of this new moon, each one of them is to take for himself a lamb, according to the house of his father, a lamb for household. So right there, you see that this is supposed to be a household feast, a situation that was supposed to be done per household. Nowadays, people do it as a corporate gathering, which again, they're observing it, but they should at least speak on this particular part of this. If you're going to bring forth the true understanding of remembering the command that it was given of this, you have to not omit parts of it. So everything was done household wise. And if the household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the beings. So, you may have some households joined together because, there was supposed to be a lamb for the household, not lambs, but a lamb per household. According to each man's need, you make your count for the lamb. Not saying you may not, I guess the way I said that would say you can't have two or whatever, but it wasn't like a multitude of lambs or whatever. It was not a congregational situation. It was not an assembly situation. It was a household situation. Many don't realize that they were preparing to leave. They were supposed to be moving and getting prepared. It was a hasty type of situation and not a celebratory situation. Like most feasts, you're sitting and relaxing and enjoying each other. This, the actual celebration or event, I shouldn't say a celebration, the actual event was done in haste. Let the lamb be a perfect one, a year-old male. Take it from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same new moon, same month. And all the assembly of the congregation of Israel shall slay it between the evenings. Now the congregation would slay the lambs together, but each household would have its own individual lamb. Or lamb, maybe multiple or whatever, but it wasn't like, it was not a big assembly type situation. This was supposed to be a household situation. Not knocking people who do the assembly now, as long as they bring forth this clarity that what it was originally, because you're supposed to remember this event, not alter this event, but remember this exact event. And they shall take some of the blood and put it on the two doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat it. My household used to put like red vinyl over the doorposts and stuff like that, just as a symbol, just to teach my wife and my children I did that. Some people may actually put some real blood. I don't know. I'm not telling a person to do so or not to do so. Whatever your conviction leads you to, but you should be speaking and teaching this exact here. And so if that is what, helps you to learn or to taking in the information, so be it. And they should eat the flesh on that night, roasted in fire, with unleavened bread and with bitter herbs, they shall eat it. So a lot of people have been, taught about this cedar meal. That right there, I don't see anywhere in here. That's something that I believe that the Ish people added. But hey, if that's what you need to do, so be it. We don't do that anymore. We do have the bitter herbs, we have the unleavened bread, and we have the lamb, and we come together in this household. Do not eat it raw, nor boiled at all with water. We definitely make sure to have it cooked. Now, we don't have a whole lamb. We gonna probably have a leg of lamb or something like that and cut it, or even maybe some lamb chops or something like that. But we know that it's supposed to be a whole lamb. That's what the command was, but we're just remembering it. We'll get to that point where it shows you that you're supposed to remember it through your generations. Do not eat it raw, nor boil it with water, but roast it in fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts. I don't even think in the city of Flint, that I live in, you can do this far as, maybe for religious reasons they might can, but I don't think I'm supposed to, I would be able to kill a live animal or whatever. Animal protection might come out and stuff like that if one of my neighbors look over the fence and see that. And do not leave it until morning. Well, we don't eat, we throw out, definitely. But we try to eat it all. That's, we only get enough really for us to eat. And what remains of it until morning, you are to burn it with fire. And this is how you eat it. Your loins girded. Okay. Right now, I'm wearing the long shirt. My loins, see, I'm gonna pull it up a little bit so you can see. Let me turn my camera off a little bit. My screen off. Let's see. Pull that back. I got long shirts, and this is my loin area. You might can't see it, but it's covered. My loins are covered. I do have pants on, but they didn't have pants back in the biblical days. They did have what underwear or whatever that went from the thigh to the loins, thigh to the loins, but it was underneath the long shirt. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Share my screen back. Your loins girded, your sandals on your feet. So when we had the celebration, we got carpet in our house. We usually almost on Sabbath we allow people to wear their shoes. I mean, not on Sabbath, excuse me, on Passover. We usually ask them to take it off because we got light carpet and cleaning that stuff is something. And then, let me stop my screen for a second again. I even stand talking to them with my staff in hand, you know, staff in hand, just to signify what I'm doing. Let me get back to sharing my screen. I don't have no sandals on right now. Again, when it comes to the Passover, I likely will have my sandals on just to symbolize what's going on. And you shall eat it in haste. You know, most Passover assemblies situations I went to, we definitely didn't eat in haste. It definitely was like almost a 2, 3 hour event or whatever, that you would have a whole lot of talking before you even got near to eating and then, so we definitely didn't eat in haste, not knocking it, but this right here is also a significant thing. It says, it is the Pesach of Yahuwah. And I shall pass through the land of Mizraim on that night, and shall strike all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim. Some people kind of try to teach this now and make it as if Passover is a sin offering, or that Yahusha is the Passover, and it's like it kind of confuses me because it doesn't really match up with what's going on here. The firstborn in the land of Mizraim were dealt with. Yahusha is not of Mizraim. He's an Israelite. If any Israelite firstborn died, it's because they didn't stay behind the 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 doorpost with the blood. Yahusha is a partaker of Passover. He was partaking the Passover in the upper room. So he was behind the doorpost. But people teach that he's the Passover lamb. He definitely wasn't 1 year old either. But, you know, I'm like, ugh, I get it. To me, it's a stretch. I don't agree with it, but I don't get mad at people for having this belief. But I'm like, it doesn't really fit to me because in this situation, the firstborn of Mizraim, the ones that were holding Israel, were the ones that died, both man and beast, and all the mighty ones. This right here, the whole Passover was dealing with Yahuwah showing himself mightier than all the mighty ones of Mizraim. It says, and on the mighty ones of Mizraim I shall execute judgment. I am Yahuwah. The Most High of Israel was showing the people of Mizraim that he was the mightiest of all mighty ones. That was what was going on. Let my people go. This was not a sin offering for Israel. This was him a show of strength towards a nation that was holding his people. And the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I shall pass over you. So they said when you see the blood of Yahusha, they'll pass over. So I can get that similarity right there. I can get that. But you can't take away what this Passover was dealing for and change what it meant. That's replacement theology at the best. We talk about Christians replacing a lot of the biblical narrative that's towards Israel, towards Christians, but right here, you're replacing something that's towards Yahuwah and putting it towards Yahusha. These people would not have had that revelation or that illumination. That was not their focus. But we have changed some things to make it fit our narrative. And I'm like, okay, if you do that, you cannot neglect this part here because this is what we were told to remember for our generations. This is the foundation. And when I see the blood, I shall pass over you, and let the plague not come onto you to destroy you when I strike the land of Mizraim. And this day shall become to you a remembrance. This day shall become to you a remembrance. And you shall celebrate it as a festival to Yahuwah throughout your generations. This was celebrated by Yahusha, so it was in his generation that they celebrated. He celebrated it not just that once, that's the one that's recorded, but if he was following this command and directive, he was doing it all those years that he lived. As you shall celebrate it as a festival to Yahuwah throughout your generation, celebrate it as a festival, an everlasting law. This is Torah. Throughout your generations, celebrate it as a festival, an everlasting law. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Indeed, on the first day you cause leaven to cease from your houses. Again, Yahusha did this. This remembrance, he kept up with it. He got an upper room to do so. But many say he is the Passover, but he partook of the Passover. He remembered and celebrated this everlasting law. And he taught to remember this everlasting law. He didn't take the shine off of this and replace it with himself. He actually did this. This is what he shamarred. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Indeed, on the first day you shall cause leaven to cease from your houses. For whoever eats leavened bread from the first day until the seventh day, that being shall be cut off from Israel. If he had done any of this, he would have been in agreement to be cut off in Israel. He didn't. He obeyed this original command. And on the first day is a set apart gathering, and on the seventh day you have a set apart gathering. No work at all is done on them, only that which is eaten by every being, that alone is prepared for you. So now we're having a set apart gathering. If you want to do the assembly thing again, I said, okay, but the original situation was house to house. Two or more meet in his name, he's there. There's nothing wrong with having an assembly. But again, the original setup was house to house. I'm significantly saying that because a lot of people put a hardship on people because they aren't able to make it to the Passover, the assembly Passover. They may do it in their home, but a lot of people have been given a heavy about doing this in their home away from the congregation in the assembly. I don't see anything wrong with either way. There's nothing wrong with doing it with the assembly, but you should not put a hardship on those that do it from house to house. This should not be something that financially breaks the bank. You shouldn't have a hardship in doing the will of Yah on when it comes to this. You should be able to do it in your home and people sanction it and not speak ill of it. Come on. All right. And you shall guard the festival of Mazat, unleavened bread. For on this same day I brought your divisions out of the land of Mizraim, and you shall guard this day throughout your generations, an everlasting law. Again, and you shall guard this day throughout your generations. Are we not in a generation now? An everlasting law. In the first month, on the 14th day of the new moon, new month, in the evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the new moon in the evening. In the evening. For 7 days no leaven is to be found in your houses. For if anyone eats what is leavened, that same being shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether sojourner or native of the land. Right now, many of us have ignorances to a lot of things, but as we keep practicing this, we should be working at getting out the leaven, out everything out of our homes. And not just the leaven far as food things, the leaven in our hearts. As we keep going forth with this remembrance from year to year, we should be doing more to remove the leaven. Do not eat that which is leavened in all your dwellings. You are to eat unleavened bread. And Moshe called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, go out and take lambs for yourself according to your clans and slay the Pesach. Again, according to your clans, tribes. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two doorposts. So above the door where you enter in with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out of the door of his house until morning the next day. And Yahuwah shall pass on to smite the Mizrahites, and shall see the blood on the lintel and on the two doorposts. And Yahuwah shall pass over the door and not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. He's going to judge the Mizrahites, judge the mighty ones of the Mizrahites. This is what we're remembering. And you shall guard this word. You should shamar this word as a law, a Torah for you and your sons forever. Again, during the time of Yahusha, he ordered up for them to get the upper room so he could do this as well, for him to partake of the Passover and unleavened bread. And it shall be when you come to the land which Yahuwah gives you, as he promised, that you shall guard this service, that you shall shamar this service. Many say, oh, we ain't in the land, so we shouldn't be doing it. This first situation, where were they at? They were in Goshen, a part of Egypt. If we read further, I think that this retelling of it or whatever, they were in the wilderness after this for a nice little spell. Remember, they spent a nice spell where almost all of the people of that time frame died except for Jacob. I mean, not Jacob, Caleb and Yahushua. Moses didn't make it into the land. Aaron didn't make it into the land. Miriam didn't make it into the land. But the two sent that came back with a good report in Caleb and Yahushua. Yeah, anyway. And it shall be when your children say to you, what does this service mean to you? What does this service mean to you? What does it mean? Again, people now replace it and say, basically almost doing the whole Jesus is the reason for the season type thing. And they say, well, Yahoo, who is the Passover? What is the Passover and unleavened about? This is what this question, what does this service mean to you? Then you shall say, it is the Pesach, slaughtering of Yahuwah, who passed over the house of the children of Israel in Mizraim, when he smote the Mizrahites and delivered our household, and the people bowed their heads and did obeisance. This is what the Passover is about. When they try to make it about Yahusha, if they don't bring this part up, they are disobeying this command. You can have it, or maybe it's both type situation, but this right here is what Yahuwah said to say to the people when they asked what this service about. Then you shall say, It is the Pesach slaughtering of Yahuwah who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Mizraim when he smote the Mizrites and delivered our household. And the people bowed their heads and did obeisance. And the children of Israel went away and did so as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be midnight that Yahuwah struck all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim, for the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants, and all the Mizrahites, and there was a great cry in Mizraim, for there was not a house where there was not a dead one. Not a house in Mizraim, but in Goshen, where they covered that mantle, they were good. They were good. Then he called for Moshe and Aaron by night and said, Arise, go out from the midst of my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go serve Yahuwah as you have said. Take both your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and go. Then you shall favor me too. And the Mizrahites were strong on the people to hasten to send them away out of the land, for they said, We are all dying. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, before it rose, they took their dough, having their kneading bowls bound up in their garments on their shoulders. And the children of Israel had done according to the word of Moshe, and they had asked from the Mizrahites objects of silver and objects of gold and garments. They left up out of there with wealth. They went from being bondmen to leaving out of there liberated and having wealth. And Yahuwah gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mizrahites, so that they gave them what they asked, and they plundered the Mizrahites. And the children of Israel set out from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot, besides the little ones. And not counting the women either. And a mixed multitude went up with them too. So there were other folks too. Also flocks and herds, very much livestock. Does mixed multitude mean men, woman, and child, or does it mean other nations, other people left with them? Remember, Moses' wife was Midianite, but anyway, let me keep on. Was she even there? We don't know, but let's keep going. And they baked unleavened cakes of dough, which they had brought out of Mizraim, for it was not leavened, since they were driven out of Mizraim and had not been able to delay. They were in haste, nor had they prepared food for themselves. And the sojourn of the children of Israel who lived in Mizraim was 430 years. 430 years. See, if you count the years of Yosef in that, a lot of those years that they lived there was not in bondage. So where is this 400 years of bondage in Israel? I mean, in Egypt, or 400 years suffering? But let's keep going. And it came to be at the end of 430 years, on that same day, it came to be that all the divisions of Yahuwah went out from the land of Mizraim. It is a night of watches unto Yahuwah for bringing them out of the land of Mizraim. This is that night of watches unto Yahuwah for all the children of Israel throughout their generations, excuse me. And Yahuwah said to Moshe and Aaron, This is the law of the Pesach. No son of a stranger is to eat of it. My brother was doing a message on stranger. Sojourner and stranger ain't the same thing. Stranger ain't supposed to eat it means this a person that ain't walking according to the will of Yah, walking in Torah, they shouldn't eat the Passover. No son of a stranger. This stranger is someone who's not walking in Torah is able to eat it. But any servant of the man who is bought with silver. So a servant, when you have circumcised him, because if you circumcise him, what? He's under covenant. Circumcision is a part of the covenant. Then let him eat of it. So see, it's a difference. This stranger right here is not under covenant. This servant is under covenant. A sojourner and a hired servant does not eat of it. Hired servant, not under covenant. Sojourner, this sojourner right here, is a person that's not under covenant. It is eaten in one house. You are not to take any of the flesh outside of the house, nor are you to break any bone of it. All the congregation of Israel are to perform it. And see here again. And when a stranger sojourns with you and shall perform the Pesach to Yahuwah. So you see there's a difference because it told you the stranger shouldn't take the Pesach. So that had to be somebody who wasn't under covenant. And notice that the servant that was circumcised under covenant, because what's the covenant for Israel? We're supposed to be circumcised on the eighth day. A lot of us probably have not been circumcised on the eighth day because our parents didn't do what they're supposed to, but we're supposed to be circumcised. Moses was not. Remember, he didn't have his son circumcised, and then Zipporah, what she went out and circumcised her son to make sure that the angel didn't kill them, the messenger didn't kill them, brought them into covenant. All right. And when the stranger sojourns with you and shall perform the Pesach to Yahuwah, let all his males be circumcised under covenant. A lot of people teach against circumcision. I'm circumcised. And then let him come near and perform it after he's been circumcised. And he shall be as native of the land. He's still not a born Israelite, but he's treated as a born Israelite, as one native of the land. But let no uncircumcised eat of it. You got to get the context. One under covenant can eat it, one not under covenant cannot. There is one Torah for the native born and for the stranger who sojourns. See, it don't just stop at saying stranger who sojourns. The stranger who is circumcised, stranger who is under covenant among you. And all the children of Israel did as Yahuwah commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be on that same day that Yahuwah brought the children of Israel out of the land of Mizraim according to their divisions. So there you go. This coming week, my household will be reading this again, and I'll be explaining it again. I just did it for you as a run through or practice for me. Hopefully it was helpful to somebody. I would love questions. I would love to have dialogue about it because I'm pretty sure somebody's not going to agree with me. There may be some that agree with me, and that's good. It's always good to reason the text. Some people say, oh, that's debating. And it's not debating when you talk about it. A lot of times you don't get the Ruach to jump in and give you clarity until you bring forth the topic up to speak on it. When we speak on a lot of these things, we give access for our brain to come out of autopilot and for us to actually think and connect to the Ruach HaKodesh. Most of us are on autopilot. We get up same time every day, do the same thing every day, rest the same day. We rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. When we're doing 11 time, that's normal. But then when you break that, unleavened, You can't go into autopilot when you're dealing with this type of change. So understand or comprehend what's going on and why it's going on. Again, I have no problem with people also, celebrating Yahusha, but know what the Passover is really about. It's about Yahuwah and him showing himself mighty over the mighty ones of Mizraim and him delivering his people from Mizraim. Got to give glory to Yahuwah. Can't change up or replace what is being spoken of about him. Abiyah, I thank you for this Shabbat. I thank you for this preparation of Passover and unleavened. May your will be done always on earth as it is in the Shamayim. May your servant walk in humility when he speaks forth, thus says Yahuwah. I stammered, I stumbled, and I corrected multiple times myself. Be open to correction, those who heed my voice at this moment. If what you've been doing, whatever your conviction, is not of Yah, let his Ruach teach you further so that you may operate in true remembrance of his command. If what I've said is an error, may he show you that and you reject what I said. But if not, be able to receive. I thank you for this Shabbat. Thank you for this opportunity to talk with your people, Yahuwah. May glory be always to you. All praises to the Most High Yah. I have love for Yahusha, so I'm not dissing him, not playing any games towards him, but he is the high priest, and he is the directions towards the destination, which is you and your kingdom and your will being done. So I thank you that as your son, as he magnified you, I also magnify you. Yada Yahuwah. Shabbat Shalom. Shanquilla Yah or Shanquilla Carter, One Vision Minute Ministry. Ikad Chazan Sheriff. Shalom.